Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Mango, the GOAT, and this is the IIP. And it's another mental liberation moment, but it is the IIP. IIP stands for Involuntary Immigrants Podcast. I'm a philosopher, not an activist. I listened to this guy talk about boys dreaming to be in the NBA. And I was like, I'm gonna give it a listen. I listened to everything he had to say. He spit these fucking numbers out, like out of 1 million boys, 400,000 play high school ball. 4,000 of them play college ball. And long story short, he got to like this statement of 1 million boys are dreaming for just only 7 jobs because it's only 7 people that play in the NBA. I guess that's fucking what he's trying to say. But then he flipped it because he started talking about science jobs, and he's like, well, there was 100,000 science jobs last year that we just missed out on, and it was available, but we just missed it. And he said something, right? And I agree with him on this point, right? He said, what you do most is what you're best at. And I agree with that statement. What you do the most, you best at. If you fuck all day, you can probably know how to throw some dick. What you do most is what you're best at. But then it put me in my deep trance. You know how I get down. So drop it back some. I want to talk about resources and opportunities. Resources and opportunities, you probably think like this vast multiverse of what it can be. I see it as one thing. I see it as tools, right? And with lack of tools comes harder labor. Now, here's an example. If you don't have a can opener and a can needs to be opened, you're going to use a knife. Now, I don't know if you ever opened a can with a motherfucking knife before, but that shit is a whole bitch. The can opener makes life so simpler. So when I look at music, sports, entertainment, just all the different things that we really thrive at, they're emotional entities. They passionate things, you know? Sports is hard work and dedication. That a high school athlete that's a top scholar, also, I'm talking about your D1 prospect, people have this ideology like, oh, well, people just going to do their schoolwork for them and get them a 4.0 to go. That shit is fake. Because it's a whole bunch of competition. Why are you so special where they just going to pass you on your grades? For every fucking top athlete, he has a competitor. And say they match out on the field, the grades is going to win them the best job, and decisions and shit like that is going to influence it also. That whole thing is not real. Now, granted, they do get favoritism. The favoritism they do get, and nobody wants to say it, but I'll tell you, is they get all the young pussy. The quarterback. If you got a daughter in school with a top-notch quarterback and your daughter's the prettiest girl in school, she's probably going to get fucked by that quarterback. Okay? Football players, basketball players, these nigga athletes, they get the pick of the litter of the sex experience. Okay? And remember, I told y'all that. And everybody who's listening to me, we're adults. You were all in high school. You remember the top athletes in your school. They were fucking somebody. Okay? So we got that out there. I don't have time to bullshit on it. But I want to say, if you take the 7 best nigga from any hood football team, I'm just doing football, not basketball, but any hood football team, and you put him in a primarily white base football conference, this nigga's going to be, if not the best, at least top best player in that new conference. Now, you see, he been working off the mud. You know what I mean? he's been working off the muscle the majority of his life versus the white athlete who he utilized special facilities and summer camps. And I'm going to go to the Peyton Manning camp because my grandfather's paying for it. The average nigga don't have that, you know? So I kind of look at it like that Rocky movie where he had to fight Clubber Lang. And Clubber Lang, I pity the fool, and all this and that. Clubber Lang was from the hood, you know, he was fucking roughneck nigga. The Rocky that we knew couldn't handle Clubber Lang. He had to go train with Apollo Creed. What Apollo Creed did with him, he took him to the hood. He took him to the rat-infested gym. He took him over there where the resources were small. There ain't no tools. He got to open that can with the knife instead of that electric can opener. And it's like that for a lot of shit across the board. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers who in third world countries who dig ditches with fucking spoons, a lot of them come to America and you hand them a shovel and they laughing. Like, oh man, I got good job, dude. And then nigga paid me 25 cents to dig ditch all day. I got good job in my country. I get 5 cents. And this shit sound funny, but that shows you how lack of tools, resources, and whatnot make people work harder. So then when they get a little bit of bare essentials and bare necessities, they laugh at it. I never forget, I heard a Haitian dude say, oh, niggas complain about the ghettos here. In y'all ghettos here, y'all have toilets. And, well, yeah, well, where I'm from, we shit in the woods. Or the outside and shit. I mean, it's like, that's some shit that happens. But it's like that here where you look at it. It's a big difference, man. It's a huge fucking difference because, like I said, coming from the ghetto and this and that, and I'm going to bring this shit back around to, it was a nigga talking about like the NBA player and this and that. I always look at these athletes. I look at athletics as a trade. That same shit he was talking about, like 100 computer engineers and all this and that. That's cool. And that is a great job. So is being an NFL player. It's a lucrative job. You have a low chance of success with sports because the competition is so high. So many of y'all niggas doing it. It's an entertainment field. Like, athletics is an entertainment field. It's very hard to get into, and you got to be special. You have to be special. On top of that, make great decisions. How many niggas you know that was special and fucked with a white bitch and got 25 cases of sexual assault against them? Shout out to Sean Watson. The reason I'm bringing this up, and it really irked me. It irks my nerves. It grinds my gears when I hear nerds talk about what the youth doing wrong, in a sense. Because this dude who was talking earlier, he was a pure nerd. And the video was shared by a nerd, and black nerds at that. And I'm not knocking them. You know, I applaud them for being black nerds. But what grinds my gears is to hear them talk about the youth doing wrong, especially when they shaming the youth, the young ghetto youth, the young, I do quote unquote cool kids, but you know who I'm talking about. These young, you know, fatherless boys, these young fatherless young men that they basically grew up on the culture. Now, I'm not necessarily saying they grew up right. What I'm saying is I hate it when people who don't grow up like them shame them. When these nerd motherfuckers talk shit about them, right? Especially, like I said, when they shaming them. Then I question, why the fuck are they talking? In reality, see, these motherfuckers grew up lame as fuck. Square as fuck. Didn't get no pussy. Now, it worked in their favor. I mean, in the later years, because what happens is these nerds from high school, these lame motherfuckers who couldn't get a date, couldn't get a girl, couldn't do da. They go to college, they become doctors or whatever the fuck they want to be. And then these same whores, and I want to say whores, but the cool girls in high school, a lot of them become whores in the sense of a social definition. And they run this trial and tribulation dealing with these dope boys and these cool ass niggas getting heartbroken after heartbroken. And then, you know what they want? They just want a simp. When they hit their 30s, they want a simp ass nigga. They regret not looking at that simp in high school because he just wasn't cool. But then they want this simp. They want to settle down with a simp with money. See, them hoes finally tired. Now, I applaud you gentlemen. But your voice ain't helping the ones who need it. Your message is pretty much similar to mine. But the thing is, when they hear you, they rebel. Why is that? When they hear me, they put it in the pocket. See, nigga, are y'all making statements just to say later on, I told you so? Or do you really want to help these young cats? Because honestly, the only people who listen to cats like y'all is other nerds looking for gratification that being square is the right track to be. But the people who need the message is really these cool adolescent niggas. You know, the nigga who look up to his uncle who's slang dope. He need a message of an economics professor. He need the message of a scientific engineer or some shit like that. These young niggas need that message. But before they get an opportunity to give you a chance, they hear you bashing everything that they've come to know. Even though it may be miseducated, but they've come to know it. They hear you just bashing it. And these niggas live in a constant war zone anyway in their mind. So now you look like another op to them. So you think they're going to say, let me hear what he got to say. Nah, they're going to say, man, fuck that weird ass glasses wearing, goatee, bald head ass nigga that didn't get no pussy like me. And then they're going to do that money fan cross their arm. And then Kodak bop on your ass. And then they're going to miss out on some good knowledge that they could have gained from you. See, I'm saying it's nothing wrong with nerd ass elders like yourselves talking to young street niggas, but do not try to talk to them and shame them on their culture like you've been through that shit. See, y'all niggas, what made y'all niggas who y'all are today is y'all avoided that shit. See, this for pro athletes and every successful nigga without a street cred to him. You guys avoided that shit and you made yourself successful. You could tell them you avoided that shit. But think about it. You're not on the same level. You're not on the same level with these jits. So you trying to get them to the light. It don't help when a stranger. What Dr. Dre said some shit. He said, every time you let the animal out cages, it's dangerous to people who look like strangers. If you let a tiger out the cage, a sheep can't walk up to him and say, hey, you know, I stopped eating meat back when I was no, you are opposition now. So talk to them young men, but not down on them. Or you could try the other approach. I mean, like, you see when OGs are people from prison or, you know, somebody from that light that's trying to turn their life around and do such and such. They say some shit and them young niggas listen. People always talk about Charleston White, right? These young cats actually watch his videos and shit. A lot of young cats get more knowledge from Charleston White than they do from Dr. Claude Anderson. And you will say, how? You know, he's a doctor, da-da-da-da-da. Charleston White is somebody who knows what these people like. He's there. He's there where these people come from. Like, you walk that shit. You didn't read it in the book. And I'm a huge fan of Claude Anderson. I just know those are two different avenues. So, again, to the nerd people, man, you could talk to them young men, but not down on them. Or you could try the other approach. And that's just shut your goddamn nerd ass up. Thank y'all for listening.
Do you remember writing in your diary that freedom is the freedom to say 2 and 2 make 4?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?
4.
And if the party says it is not 4 but 5, then
4.
180. How many? 190. How many fingers, Winston?
4. 5. 4. Anything you like. Only stop the pain. Stop.
Involuntary. Done contrary to or without choice. Involuntary.
Immigrant.
Done contrary
Definition
to
1.
or without choice.
Person who immigrates.
Involuntary.
Immigrant.
Done contrary
Definition
to
1.
or without choice.
Person who comes
Done contrary to or without choice. Done contrary to or without choice. Done contrary to or without choice.
Definition 1. Immigrant. Definition 1. Unknown. Person who established. Plant or ethnic unknown.
Stand finger.
Unknown. Established.
Trying to free your mind.
What white people have to do is try to find out in their own hearts
Trying to free your mind.
why it was necessary to have a nigger in the first place. But if you think I'm a nigger, it means you need it. The question you gotta ask yourself, the white population of this country's gotta ask itself,
Trying to free your mind.
North and South, because it's one country, and for a Negro, there is no difference between North and the South. There's just, a difference in the way they castrate you.
Trying to free your mind.
Who taught you to hate yourself?
Involuntary. Done contrary to or without choice.
Immigrant. Definition 1. A person who immigrates. Definition 2. A plant or animal that becomes established where it was previously unknown.